Hello everyone, it's Zeeebo and welcome to this AFK Journey video. So I'm currently still on my travels and apparently my hotel light actually spoiled, so the lighting's pretty bad. Pardon me on the very dark video over here because like the light on top of me just spoiled, so there's no light coming and then the graphic is very blur. So there's that. But for this video we're going to talk about Faramor's PvP performance. So I think Faramor as a unit, generally speaking, is not that meant for PvP. Because despite having an amazing damage centric kit, I think this unit's survival is not that strong. He does have a shield here, but the shield breaks really easily, and then his stat is not the tankiest unit, right? But provided if you're able to buff up a really powerful carry with the Sacred Pledge right here for him to actually buff up that carry to mega carry your team, or if you're able to survive long enough for Faramor to cast the skills, to spam the ultimate for all the true damage conversion, he might be feasible for the PvP side. So I think Faramor is definitely more feasible in the Supreme Arena side, which I'll showcase a few teams I found success with, and also showcase a few teams which I think might actually work on the PvP side. But general, before I begin, just a disclaimer, I think Faramor's pretty much a PvE centric character, so not recommended unless you are using him mostly for the Supreme Arena side, where he's supported by the Wildest Factional Talent or even the Celestial Factional Talent for the energy regen, or the boosted survivability from the Invincible part of the Factional Talent for the Wildest side. Okay, so with regards to the normal PvP side, I think right now the current meta is not very friendly for Faramor in general, and I think the team or the setup that is the most consistent in terms of winning is to use Faramor as a buffer that buffs your carry by 15% immediately, almost at the start of battle, right? So this buff is a temporary buff because it increases the attack by up to 15% for first 10 seconds, and then it reapplies the buff when it expires. So it's a temporary buff that can buff up the likes of Dino, buff up the likes of Atalia, buff up the likes of Lilime for you to gain a lot of initial burst damage onto the enemies. And then that's where you are able to steamroll, because when you're able to quickly burst the enemy down, then you're not so afraid of Faramor dying, right? Because Faramor is pretty frail, and once he dies, then Sacred Pledge is going to be gone, and then the rest of his kit is also pretty much going to be gone. So that's for the combi that we found the most success with, which is using him as a buffer to hyper buff your hyper carries to win the match faster, right? And then if he's able to cast his ultimate, that's where you are able to steamroll better, because from there he has a little bit of utility in terms of the true damage as well as the heal prevention, which could be good against certain heal centric lineups such as your Healwin Damien lineups, or even your Ludovic with your twins, for example. So these are the few ways, or the one way that I think Faramor can fit into the normal PvP side. So we're going to showcase how he works here, and then we're going to log into another account to showcase how he works with, for example, the assassins, right, with Sylvina in terms of the usage side for normal PvP. Okay, so right here, with the buff onto Atalia, Atalia is better able to hyper carry us, dealing more damage at the start of battle, right? Sonya does more buff over time, but the thing is, it's not fast enough. Faramor is an instant 15% at the start for 10 seconds, which is very, very good for the bursting side of things. So that's for the single target hyper carry buffing with regards to our Faramor buffing our Atalia right here. So this is with regards to the Team 1 for normal arena. Let's move on to Team 2 in terms of the Rogue Bursty Showcase. Let's go. Okay, so here's one more for the normal arena side. So this was basically the same idea as Atalia, but just buffing up the likes of Sylvina for Sylvina to become a faster killer and then steamroll faster for the team. You can also put Faramor with Lilime, for example. You can also put Faramor with Vala, for example, right, for that quick burst buff, such that you can translate that initial quick buff into more for the team. So that's, I'll say, for the normal arena side, what you want to run for Faramor. But in most cases, I'll say that is only recommended if Faramor is one of your strongest units in your team and you don't have other more stable and stronger defensive lineups or offensive lineups in general. So that's for the Faramor normal PvP performance. Okay, so for the Supreme Arena side, with regards to the Faramor teams itself, I think there are a lot of ways to build him, generally with the Wildest Tau or even the Celestial Hypogean Tau. So we're going to showcase the defense team with Faramor that we tried for the past few days, mainly with the buffing strategy onto Atalia, and we're also going to showcase a team which I use on my free-to-play account with Faramor on the defensive side with regards to the use of like my best remaining Wilders in general. So for this one, we're gonna buff up Atalia once again with our Faramor right here, and what this does is this allows Atalia to basically be inbound and then just go for the quick burst, and we are gonna combine this team with your Niru plus your Iron. So you guys might be wondering, AZ, why are you doing this, and you know, is this a valid combo? So the idea of this team is simple, right? You're gonna use Niru to cancel the ultimate of Lilime, and then Iron's gonna pull all the enemies together, and with the buffing of our Faramor as well as the bursty AoE damage potential of Atalia, we're gonna quickly burst the opponent down with this buff setup over here. And we also have Q-Win for the additional sustain. So the very first team that we run on this account is this Bonnie Tasi Lilime comp. So you can switch out Lilime with Healwin, and then you can put Lilime on this team for even more quick burst. So that's with regards to this one with Faramor's team setup. So we'll showcase a few defense runs for this one, and then for the third team we are going to run the Shakir Bomb team, right, with the Celestial Hypogean with Siren buff. So that's the team, and let us showcase a few replays. So Sid over here did beat us. Let's take a look at the team, okay? So this is the team, so Sid actually did the exact same setup, but with Lenya's protection with Torrent over here. So let's take a look at this, right? How this buffing of Atalia works, or buffing of Lenya works in the Supreme Arena side. Let's go. Okay, so Sid is buffing up Lenya. I think it's Lenya. Let's take a look. Oh, he's buffing out Atalia as well with Faramor, as you guys can see right here. So Atalia with the Wildest Tau is inbound at the start of battle, and then you buff it up so much that you are able to quickly burst down the enemy with Atalia, and then the rest is history because Atalia is pretty bursty. So this is for those of you guys who have Atalia or any hyper carry that appreciates the initial buff, right, as we suggested in the normal arena side. So for this team, we're gonna showcase it on my free-to-play account. We're gonna put Faramor on the Wildest Tau, so he gets the inbound at the start of battle for him to sort of build up his energy and then be the carry later on if he's able to quickly burst down the enemy with the very first ultimate cast with the burst of true damage as well as the true damage conversion for the allies in general. So for this team, right, because if you take a look at my Wildest right here, we have the Wildest on like a few of our teams. In fact, we just run like 3 Wildest fractional talent. So we run Iron, Almas, Arden on one. We run Huwin, Damien as well as Limi on the other one. So my stronger Wildest left would be Forobel as well as Lenya. But let's say if you have a Tasi or if you have a Lawson, you can obviously throw them in for that burst heal as well as the support or even the control AoE for Tasi for you to actually win easily, right, or win more easily. So without further ado, let's showcase this team. Okay. So another team would be using Faramor with Bond Burst, but I think with Bond Burst is a little bit weaker to the likes of the Wildest fractional talent. So that's why, like, in most cases, right, like if you're not able to burst your opponent down quickly, and then you'll be the one that get bursted down. So that's that. But right here, as you guys can see, if Faramor is able to survive, which you can solve with the Wildest fractional talent, and he's able to come online, he's actually quite a powerful carry. So we're gonna run it at 2 times. But in most cases, what I feel with regards to his usage is he's quite frail, right, in terms of his survival side. So he dies pretty easily, and that's where he might not be like the best PvP characters in most cases, especially with your Bonnie, Tasi, Tailing combo burst, your Sylvina with Bomb Burst, for example, without the Faramor variant running around very consistently. I think his survival is a little bit tough, unless you're running him in the Wildest fractional talent specifically. So that's with regards to the PvP side. So yep, that's pretty much it for the showcase for Faramor. We're gonna hopefully win this one and then showcase some replays. Okay, so unfortunately we got like brought down by the burst itself. So this is with regards to the Faramor's damage output, as you guys can see. So he definitely can become a really powerful carry, provided number 1 he survives, and provided number 2 his ultimate doesn't get cancelled, because he needs to get his ultimate off for that massive damage conversion as well as burst damage itself. So in most cases, not recommended for the PvP side, but you can try him if he's one of your stronger units that you built up for the Dream Realm side, for the PvP side, and you can actually build up a decent Supreme Arena team with him, right, with regards to the Supreme Arena side in most cases. So that's it for this video. Thank you very much for tuning in, and I'll see you guys again in my next video. Bye guys.